This episode of the Reppin The Stateline podcast with John, George, and Josh is sponsored by the Brodo Rockstar Group at eXp Realty. The home buying process is stressful, especially when it's your first time. The Brodo Rockstar Group is committed to giving you a stress-free experience while guiding you through the process from getting approved for a loan to getting the keys on closing day. Let their team treat you like a rock star. To book an appointment or to search all available properties in the State Line area, visit buywithbroda.com.
You know,
what?
It is always stressful your first time buying a house.
It is.
You have some of the greatest open liners of
Oh
our
my
podcast.
goodness! I know. Like I'm looking at Josh, and I don't know
What are you
which way he's going
yeah.
with that. It's like,
Stressful.
is he going to say something really inappropriate right off the bat, or is it going to be like a double conundrum or a sexual innuendo, or is he just going to be like very sincere? I never know which Josh we're getting.
It is
Welcome back.
It is very stressful buying your first house. I mean, especially when like someone like loses a house and then
You know
put
what?
another offer in and then lose
I
a
have to
house.
say-
You know what I mean? Like just the you guys make the process at Brodo Rockstar Group smooth as best as you possibly can, knowing that no matter what, right? There's always gonna be something that comes up. But you guys always have that ability to like, boom, nip it in the butt really quick, right? And make sure things are correctly. So yeah, shout out to your team. I mean, it's growing and it shows because there are people left and right wanting to be on your team because of what you guys do and what you can offer. So yeah, shout out to you guys.
Well, thank
Well,
you.
we
I really
have we have.
appreciate that.
I mean, couple things. One, I'm really glad that you started with these openings because every opening for the last 4 seasons has been, and we're back. That's much better than, and we're back. So shout out to you on that one. Number 2, we all have great teams. You have a great team. You have a great team with
Don Valentine.
Mr. Don Valentine.
and,
Yes.
Don with 2 N's.
With
Shout
two
out to Don.
names. The man with the big heart, and this is Valentine's week.
Oh, what a
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Now,
I mean,
if
Valentine's Day
would
was
just,
yesterday.
If Josh would just do his homework, we can give Valentine Insurance what it deserves, being a sponsor of an episode. But Josh, do your homework.
Yep, I want
You know,
Josh to
living my life is very chaotic.
Okay, so
Josh.
here's what we're gonna do:
15 minutes to write something down. Come on.
write a script and send me a logo, and I will have it ready for next week.
Hey, not only
I
is
don't know
Valentine your number one stop shop for all
insurance.
of your insurance needs.
Mhm.
If you call 847-741-0083, anybody on our amazing team can help you out in the matter of moments.
Da, da, da.
Not only here in the great state of Illinois in the Chicagoland area, but we can help your mothers, your brothers, your
mothers?
sisters, your uncles, your aunts, your twice removed cousins from the 4th marriage of your niece, right? That
feel like I'm at church.
That
I
lives
was like,
in
preach.
California. That lives in California, and then she decides to move to North Dakota, and then to Texas, and then to Wyoming. We can help her out in all states because guess what? We write in all 50 states.
Booyah.
Boom.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. I think he literally cut out the mic there.
He did
was
cut
so
out the
hard,
mic.
it went-
Mine cut out for a second. I was just like,
what
whoa.
is-
There it is.
There it is. Okay, so
There's your intro. Need
Super
an
Bowl.
outro?
First of all, I'm very depressed. It was not 31-21, but I mean
All right,
25-20.
it was a terrible game
It was,
It
a,
was
bad
a
game.
horrible
until
game.
the 4th quarter. Here's the situation, Kays.
It was a horrible game till overtime.
We went to a friend's house for a Super Bowl party, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, Kels, like 8:30, let's like head out. Gives us a half hour to get home. If the game's still kind of going, we can catch the end of it, right? Well, 8:30, things started to get interesting. And I have a 9-year-old that has FOMO. I don't know if you guys know what FOMO is, but it's fear of missing out. And that dude would lose his mind if I would have made him leave at 8:30 and all of his friends were still there watching the game and like going nuts, right? So I got stuck in Belvedere watching the game until like 10 o'clock at night. It was so late and they were so tired that all 3 kids, even a 9-year-old, fell asleep in the car, not even out of the neighborhood. And so, but yeah,
I had something that I've never seen. And I have a feeling that the only reason was because of Taylor Swift. I came home. So I went to a party with Emma, and Lily babysat, so she didn't come with us. I came home at halftime to get the kids to bed on time, and my wife and Lily are watching the Super Bowl. And I can see my wife when the Chiefs did something good, go, yes. I was like, oh my God.
Dude, you can't hate on her.
She's never watched.
You can't hate on Taylor.
I think there's a stat
No.
though. She came out. She has produced like $3 billion
Yeah.
this year alone for the NFL. You can't hate on it. Who like the people that get so mad? Oh, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, this, that. You know what I mean? Like, if they're truly happy and they truly in love, who cares? Let them be.
No, I agree, but I just think it's funny.
Just because they're in the spotlight
time
and they're
I've ever seen Monica watch football.
Well, I will say we all missed the opportunity to win on the coin toss because we predicted heads last week, and it was heads.
It was.
It was
You know
tails
color
for the
per-
overtime, but it was heads.
Do you know what color Gatorade it was?
Purple.
Purple.
I did not.
Back to back years.
Yep, purple.
31-21 did not happen.
And Andy Reid does not get Gatorade. They actually got him. This is the first time I've seen it.
Yeah, and
He avoids it.
And they told his wife to move out of the way.
Yes.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was respectful. Now, did everybody see the crotch adjustments up on the podium?
No,
on the
I didn't stay
no.
for that.
It's all over Twitter right
I
now.
didn't stay for that.
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
And
I
it was
also-
like okay, like I guess got done playing the game, take the cup off, but he started showing through. So it was like somebody told to like pull the pants out a little bit.
Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
Shout out to him. I mean, I didn't see it, but hey, if you're packing, you're packing.
That's
So the
funny.
rumors of the game was that there was some satanic ritual going on in Taylor Swift's
Yeah,
box.
what's her name? Ice Spice.
Ice Spice was like calling out to Satan so they would win.
She was doing
Do you
something
know-
like
do
this
you-
with her hands or
Do you
something.
know
I
who
don't
Ice Spice looks like?
Who?
Early 2000s Justin Timberlake.
No, I thought she looked like
They
I
could
thought she-
rival each other with, when Justin with the curls.
Yeah.
Oh,
The curls,
yeah,
for, the curls
I
for the
could see
girls,
that.
baby.
I could see
Yeah,
that.
Curls for the girls.
Because that's what that chick from Ozark looked like. Early 2000s Justin Timberlake. So I can proudly say Venice has still held her record of not watching a Super Bowl.
Okay,
at all.
ready, guys? You
What?
heard, I'm sure maybe you guys didn't hear, but my phone went zzz, right? I got a text message
No
from our
way.
number one loyal listener, Cassie Avers.
Oh, and what does it say?
Listening to you guys talk about the Super Bowl on the podcast today gave me a good chuckle. Poor George.
Poor George.
You're 31-21.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
It was close. 20.
Not close.
Wait, what was it?
25-22.
Wait, okay, so didn't they win on a touchdown? Oh, but they didn't.
They don't kick it.
They didn't have to kick the extra.
They didn't, yeah.
Got it. I was like thinking about how did it end with a 3-point victory, but yeah, they don't kick the extra point.
No.
So yeah, 25-22.
What,
I
how do you
mean,
feel about the Travis Kelce bumping into Andy Reid?
I mean, I got some really
It is what it
cool. We
is.
got some really good real estate memes right now. Like it's Realtor, not Realtor. And he's yelling at Andy Reid. That's funny.
oh, I saw the bourbon ones.
All the bourbon ones. I mean, there's like
It was like
Why am I cutting out?
I don't know.
Why are we cutting out?
I cut out there for a second.
We all cut out.
We all
there.
cut out for a second, but we're back.
Interesting.
We're back. We're back.
All right. So we have technical difficulties as always.
It's okay.
So heads, we didn't get
Whoa,
the 31-21.
Hold
The
on.
Kansas City Chiefs did win the game.
Yeah.
What?
But Andy Reid did come out and
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid
Yeah.
came out and said he startled me. That's why I
Looked the way I did.
looked the way he did.
Interesting. What else? What else did you do this weekend?
It was Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, that's
That was
it.
about it.
I had the
mean,
daddy-daughter dance.
Daddy daughter dance Friday. I was supposed to go to the daddy daughter dance, and oh man, Friday turned into a crazy night. I was supposed to go to daddy daughter dance, and my daughter last second decided she didn't want to miss play practice because there are shows in a couple weeks, and she's in the show again. She's in, I think this is her third production she's going to be in now with the same company, and so she went to that, and I did dinner with them. I took them out for dinner, the girls. And then I dropped her off at practice. Monica came home, picked up the girls. And once they were home, I went to fun night with the guys. And boy, that turned into a long night.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That turned into, I'm just going to drop by and
So
have a drink or two, to me getting dropped off at 3:30 in the morning.
I see a picture on Facebook, and
Yes.
I'm like, I see all the people I know, and then I'm looking at the third picture, and I'm like, that's George. Whoa, wait a second. So I text him and go, well, thanks for the invite. He's like, dude, rough night.
It was a poker night, ended up at somebody else's house
And
at
I
a
was-
casino.
And I was flying solo this weekend because Venice was at a gymnastics meet.
Yeah, I totally
So
should've
like that
texted
would have
you.
been the night to go have drinks with the guys. But
Damn. Next time. I'll remember.
Cut to this camera.
Cut to that camera.
Yep. Look at this photo. I'm sure you guys seen it on Facebook. But it is adorable.
Oh,
Wrong
wrong camera. Aww. Look at that. You stud.
I miss daddy daughter
It was
dances.
fun. She was terrified. She hated it. Well, she's 3.
Was it her first?
It was her first. It was at St. Bridget's in the Parish Center, which is not that big. The
Right.
DJ music you could hear from Elm Street. You know what I mean? And then he goes.
Was it all Taylor Swift?
And every time a Taylor Swift song came on, like these 8th grade girls
Would
7th
go
grade girls
crazy.
just scream at
Yes.
the top of their lungs. It's just a lot for a 3-year-old.
I've had, this is like, I have one more next year. So my daughter promised next year she'll go, no matter
It's
what.
been 5 years.
I've
since
done
ours,
so
'cause
many.
Up in Roscoe, the Connecticut School District, they would go up until they were done with 8th grade. So,
Yeah.
because it was all at the middle school.
So I'm excited. We have a special guest today. And do we want to intro him? Or do we just want
I
to cut
think-
right to him and invite him in?
I think we'll. I'm looking into the green room, and I didn't see if he was here yet or not.
Oh, I thought I heard something, so that's why I'm cutting into it. But
Let's just intro him in. I mean,
Well, all
he's
right. Well,
he's
I'm
a
gonna
pretty
I'll-
public figure.
I'm gonna
here.
go here from. I got actually his bio.
well, then why don't we save that for when he's here? So, y'all, we're gonna cut right now to a special guest that's joining us. That's why we're set up for a 4th. Not here yet, but we're gonna cut to it right here.
Okay, and here we are now. I'm just going to jump right into our introduction of our guest. As you can see, watching on YouTube, we have someone sitting here next to us. We have Judge Joe McGraw with us today. He's a husband, father, and lifelong Illinoisan, and a faithful steward of the law. Joe McGraw was a prosecutor, a private attorney, and a judge, and now you are running for the 17th Congressional District in Illinois.
Yeah.
And I want to just welcome you to the podcast. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we appreciate you coming in. I do research, so that's what I do. So these
Okay.
guys are gonna ask like, what's your favorite bourbon and what's this stuff and all like that. That's all fun. But 17th Congressional District, I'm just gonna jump right into it. Why? What is your why for running? Why are you wanting to step up and put yourself out there? Because it's a scary thing to do.
Yeah.
And you've already retired. You've already
Right.
had a great career.
Yeah. Well, when I told my friends I was retiring, the first question they asked is, "Where are you going in Florida?" And I said, "I'm not going to Florida. I'm going to stick around and fight the fight here in the 17th Congressional District." And the reason for doing it was several reasons. Last several years on the bench, I was presiding judge of the criminal division. I was the chief judge of the circuit and talked with other judges around the state of Illinois. And all of the negative effects of the Biden open border policy were being experienced not only in Rockford, but in all the communities around the state of Illinois. And I'm referring specifically to crimes committed by illegal aliens against Americans, human trafficking. I had a human trafficking court and domestic violence. We saw the spread of that. And most shockingly, we saw the untold number of deaths due to fentanyl. You know, on any point in time, I'd have approximately 250 felonies on my caseload, and I'd have probably a dozen murders. And amidst all of that, we're trying to rehabilitate offenders through probation and drug treatment, mental health treatment, and they were just falling like dominoes due to the fentanyl.
Jeez.
So, yeah, it was really shocking. Even people, you know, that were on the way to rehabilitation, if they relapsed, fentanyl, game over. And so we saw that in our communities and also saw a lot of the changes that had happened in the last couple of years while Biden had been president. And we're talking about disastrous economic policy, disastrous foreign policy, and the list goes on. So my wife and I prayed about it. We've got 5 adult kids and 2 grandkids. And we felt that we had been blessed to grow up in the greatest country in the world. We wanted to do what we could to restore some of those values for our kids and our grandkids.
Well, for your family, for the community, that's a great why. Now, 17th District, we know Congress, the state of Illinois especially, they gerrymander, they move lines. We've had a whole bunch of redistricting over the last few years. You're going up against Eric Sorensen. He's the incumbent Democrat. He's had it for a while before they changed the district.
Not exactly. Sherry Bustos.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, by they, you mean Democrats.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, that's what I mean. He ran against Sherry Bustos, but he kept, it was a highly Democratic area. So, and we all know Democrats are going to come out and vote for Democrats. Republicans are going to come out and vote for Republicans. What's your message for the independent voter to get them to sway one way or the other?
Yeah. Well, years ago, the term Reagan Democrats was coined, and it essentially referred to people that were maybe typically Democratic voters, but they could feel the impact of policies on their pocketbook, on their daily life. And so in the 17th Congressional District, the number one issue on everyone's mind is they don't feel safe. And they don't feel safe because of all the border policies. It's turned every community into a border community. And they know and sense that both in Illinois and federally, there's no respect for law enforcement, undermining law enforcement. There's numerous pieces of legislation that have hampered law enforcement and the judiciary. So that's one issue. And the other is the economy. Every time you go to the grocery store or you fill your car full of gas or you look at your credit card balance, everyone is feeling this inflation that we're experiencing. And, we could bore you with statistics, but a family of 4 pays $12,000 more for the same goods and services that they paid a couple of years ago. And so that happens to families, whether you're, union, blue-collar Democrat family or you're, a contractor or something. It doesn't matter what your occupation is, what your race is, what your gender is. These are things that are experienced by everybody, and people are desperately looking for a change. And so since Biden has led the charge the wrong direction, and Eric Sorensen has voted with him almost 100% of the time, kind of rubber stamped his agenda, it's time for a change, and I'm the guy that's going to bring it.
Got it.
All right. Well, you have 3 different age groups here as our podcast. That's one of the things we love about our show, our 30, 40, 50 club. Because Josh
30,
is 30, 40,
40,
I'm 50. So
60.
So
There you go. We got a 30,
So
40, 50, 60.
we have different generations and we're at different phases in life. Like I have the 3 adult children. My youngest is out in the world now, making her way finally. Kids in.
Yeah, he grew up on black and white television.
Yeah.
We talk about that all
We
the
do
time.
that all the time. I'm the old guy in the group.
And he rode his horse to work to school in the morning.
And Josh has 3 kids under 9. So
Yeah, and I've got the teenage years,
the preteen.
the
and teen
preteen.
years, yeah.
Yeah. So
Bill's character.
yes,
So I want to
Sure
know, like, what do you guys think? Like, you guys,
I love to hear. I definitely think that we need change, 100%. Just in general, I think that this is going to be a interesting year. 2024 is going to be an interesting year. I think I speak with the majority of America. They're not happy with how things are with the inflation. I'm very partial because I work in the industry of mortgage. I do mortgages for a living.
Sure.
So I'm not happy with how things are right now.
Well,
for sure.
just the
But-
underinflated,
Yes.
we held the interest rates so prematurely low for so long that people don't realize 6.5% is
The
the
norm.
normal rate.
Yeah.
And now we've got so many people locked in at 3%, so they won't sell. We have a glut of people trying to buy, and there's no inventory, especially in our region.
Right.
So, and I know Congress can't fix everything, but I mean, we would love to see some type of housing bill come through that helps builders build better, because with inflation, with the high cost of goods because of the COVID shutdown, we can't build decent housing that's affordable.
That's the big
for
problem.
the first time home buyer. I mean, a house in Rockford used to be, when I started in 2017 in real estate, when I hung up my tool belt and moved into real estate, I stopped building and started selling. You could find a first time home buyer house somewhere between the 80 to 150,000 range in the Rockford area. And now we're at 185 and up, and anything below 100 is not habitable.
It needs a lot of work, and then
And the first time buyers at FHA,
they don't have the money. Yeah, so it's like we definitely need. I did see that locally we're trying to put some grants together for remodeling, construction, certain qualifications for housing, that they have to be below certain price range, and the income has to be below a certain amount. So we're starting to see some things locally, but definitely on the national level, we need some help in our industry. So that's some change that I'm looking for.
Right.
And I don't think that the solution is the current path that we're on, for sure. But I mean, I don't want to get into the weeds on it. But
Well, we're not really a political show, but we do
Correct.
have a reach of people that are in the state line area. You want to represent the people of the state line area, so it's a great space to talk. And we put it out there. If any candidate wants to come on and talk and have a discussion, we go.
we're all for it.
We
We want to hear.
We talk to everybody.
Sure.
So
Yeah, we want to hear what's pressing, what the ideas are. I believe firmly that you have to have ideas and not just complain about the other side. So I'm excited to hear more of that as we get into the election cycle, where stop complaining about what the other side is doing or what they haven't done, and what are you going to do that's going to make a difference. That's where I'm very much looking forward to going into the summer and the fall here as we get into election season. It's going to be a fun year, like I said, 24. How about you, Josh?
I have a good one.
okay,
Uh-oh.
Obviously, you don't know, but a lot of our listeners and co-hosts know that I am in the homicide space pretty heavily. I help run a large bereavement camp for kids ages 7 to 17 in South Chicago that have lost a loved one to homicide. Wow. With that being said, and my wife being a teacher who was actually your daughter's co-teacher at Constance Lane or Kishwaukee at the time.
Okay.
Kelsey Cooper. And that side of town has been hit hard in the last 12 months of homicides.
Sure.
My goal as a person, just a Joe Schmo out there, right? And I think my kind of calling is, how do we help these kids and families that have dealt with a loss due to homicide in our area? Because it's growing tremendously. So my question to you is, what do you think we can do as a community to help, one, prevent homicides, and two, how can we help these families, better help these families in our area that have lost someone to homicide?
That's a great question. And I can talk about the housing issue also later. You're more of an expert than I am on the kind of care that families need, the trauma that families experience. But I would see it in my courtroom all the time. When, like I said, I had probably a dozen or more murders pending at any one time. I have numerous jury trials throughout the year. A lot of them were homicide cases. Those are some of the tougher cases. And as part of the sentencing procedure, the victims would get to make a victim impact statement in court. They could either write it or recite it aloud so that I could hear about all the different ways that they experienced trauma as a result of the loss of their loved one, just how it changed their whole world. And that definitely impacted me, obviously, in the sentence that I would give, but also as a person. It's so important if you're going to do justice, you really have to be compassionate. You really have to see both sides and make sure you're fully appreciating the issues. And since so many things happen outside of your life experience, you have to really listen, really be attentive. I saw some kids who ended up growing up and they had extended family, like grandmas and grandpas and uncles that maybe took the place of a parent that had been a crime victim. But unfortunately, that's more uncommon than common. And we have to enforce the laws that we have and enforce them rigorously. There are so many laws on the books right now prohibiting like felons from having guns. Let's just use that as an easy example. And week to week in my courtroom, I would easily see a dozen or more, or half a dozen, new cases charging felons with guns.
Mm-hmm.
And bottom line is that if we can't deter them, we have to incapacitate them. So if the threat of prison, deterrence isn't enough, then you have to actually impose prison and protect the rest of society from those that are living outside of our laws, our morals. And unfortunately, that group is becoming younger and younger, very, very antisocial, and you probably see that because they didn't have a mom or a dad or somebody to teach them how to grow up. And that is going to be a problem that just grows and grows. So the real solution is doing what we can to support the families, to keep them
Correct.
intact.
Yep.
Intact.
Yep. Yeah, because I work with Kids Above All, Camp Sheila out of Chicago. We're there, we say after the third week, right? Because when someone dies or is murdered, everyone, it seems like, is there for the first 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
But what after, right? So we're there to pick up the pieces after, right? We're there to help the children, learn coping skills, learn everything they need to be a good citizen in our communities and stuff. So, my father in '96 was murdered. So when I was 3, so we
Wow, firsthand.
yeah, firsthand. So that's my fight.
Yeah.
Well, Josh and Camp Sheila has been one of those organizations that our podcast gets very much behind because of Josh, and we know so much more about it because of your advocacy for it.
Sure.
But like Josh went through this program and then became a counselor, and now he's one of their spokespeople and
Yep.
sitting there,
Director.
getting the message out. So I mean, it's just trying to help organizations like that is another thing that we don't see we try to help at home, but we'd love to see more backing from our local state governments.
But we are, here in the State Line area, we are vigorously working with leaders here to bring a camp, hopefully in the future, to the State Line area, or just being able to get our families to camp and into the program so they can have the help that they need.
Yeah.
So
I'm so glad you're doing that. Your passion is evident, and obviously you've lived it.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
On to the mortgage one.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, because George is like we always get we love hearing the story, but we always get so down. It's but it's a fact of life.
It's a fact of life.
100%.
And
it's a fact I lived with, on the bench, and sometimes, unfortunately, you'd see a second generation, committing the same crimes as
right,
the father.
because we need programs that help the kids stay out of those
trouble.
circles.
Break that cycle.
100%.
Yeah. And some of it's education, some of it's substance abuse, some of it's emotional health. And so much of it is mentoring, though. There's the old saying, more is caught than taught. And just someone to be an example, how to act like a man without lashing out or being violent or abusive to someone who's less powerful, So we saw that plenty. And, we had some great successes and some that weren't successful. And those always stick with me.
I can imagine. I could not do it. I can't imagine what it's like to sit in the courtroom and week after week hear these stories and witness this in terms of like you said, whether it's spoken or written, read at the courtroom. That's not for me.
I had a hard time doing jury duty just for a week.
I can't
And
imagine.
having to hear all the evidence, and then
Yeah.
you're thinking guilty right away, and then you hear stuff. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to affect this person's life. Based on what we feel, did they do their job or not? Which, I mean, that's the one great thing I love about our legal system is, you get the right to face your accuser. You have rules we have to follow in order to get our burden of proof. And if the prosecutor doesn't get that, then unfortunately, if they don't do their job properly, that person gets to go. And we're all innocent until proven guilty. So I love that part of it. And like you said, following up with the laws we have on the books. I mean, I am a responsible gun owner. I've been a responsible gun owner since I moved to Illinois in 2001 because couldn't own a gun in New York City. That's where I come from.
Okay.
Like your right is completely taken away. So, get the FOID card, do everything we have to do. And then they add all these layers and layers and layers on top of that. And the law-abiding citizens are going through that process. And every time there's a change, we're going along with it. And proper gun locks and proper background checks and, not selling a weapon to somebody that's not through, an actual party that's supposed to be selling a gun. So where are the criminals getting these guns from? Because obviously they're not going to the gun store and they're not getting them sold from a guy like me on the street because, I mean, you'd realize if I'm buying a bunch of guns and selling them, I'm buying them legally and selling them illegally, somebody will notice that with all the background checks. So,
Yeah, there's plenty of, let's say, procedural safeguards or checks in place already, more so in Illinois than many places.
Sure.
But the follow-through is necessary. You have to have a philosophy of prosecution where you prioritize what are the biggest threats to our community, because you can't attack everything. Everybody has limited resources. Law enforcement has to have that same perspective. What's our philosophy? What are we trying to accomplish, and how are we going about it? And is there an evidentiary basis for the approach we're taking? Like in court, for example, for years, there was not a sufficient body of evidence on certain sentencing options. And then with the information age, we began to be able to collect and compare and see what kind of offenses received what kind of sentences and whether that was effective or not. So for the last, 10 years or so, we were very much focused on evidence-based practices, and that includes not just the sentencing part, but what kind of probation someone would be under, what would the restrictions be, and so forth. And so I like your reference to the being on the jury and recognizing the awesome responsibility that a jury has to determine if there's been proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And, so for all the years I was on the bench, I tried literally every kind of case, from a death penalty case to a child custody case. And all of them are fraught with all kinds of issues. But what I learned is you have to listen very, very carefully. You have to go into it without bias or prejudice, no passion. Just listen, be attentive, receive the evidence, weigh it, and then look and see what the law required, and then apply the law to the evidence and make a decision. So I think that's one of the things that's really equipped me for Congress, because you've got some very polarized points of view.
Absolutely.
And those seem to get a lot of media attention, sometimes I think to the detriment of actual legislation. So I think I bring to Washington a maturity, also ability to listen, to be present when I'm listening, so that I'm not distracted. I'm really listening to what you're saying, not just thinking about what I'm going to say in response, and weighing it and
It's a
evaluating.
big thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are skills that I think will suit me well when I'm in Washington, because I'm not there to be a Republican or a Democrat. I'm there to represent the people of the 17th Congressional District. And you got to call balls and strikes the same for both teams. And if they're not doing something that really serves the people, meets their needs, then you gotta call a strike on them. And that's what I've done all my life. And in a courtroom, it's an adversary system, so 100% of the time, 50% of the people in the room aren't going to like what you decide.
Yeah.
And you can't vote present. You know, you just have to make a ruling.
Yeah.
And so I've been well prepared to do that.
Awesome. So it says here on your flyer, vote Judge Joe McGraw for Congress by March 19th. So what are the important dates that we need to know?
Okay, March 19th is the primary.
Okay.
And then, so if you're registered, got to be a registered voter. So that's important. If you haven't already done that, you can do that now almost instantly. So there's not any like long-term waiting period or anything like that. A registrar can help you right online, get it done. So if you have friends or family or church members or fraternal groups you're with, everybody's got to be registered to vote. That's the minimum required of citizens in a Republican form of government. Then you got to educate yourself, as you guys have done, researching the candidates. And then you got to vote in the primary, because the votes in the primary are important to determine who gets to represent us in the general election. And so some people, if they sit that out and then they're dissatisfied with their choices in the general election, it's maybe because they didn't weigh in during the primary. Then, of course, the general election, the first Tuesday in November.
Yep.
That's for all the marbles.
Right. And I'm glad you're saying that. Now, primaries irritate me. And I hate to say it like that, but now just looking at the Republican cast for our president right now, we went from this big slate of people trying to bide for our vote to 2 people running right now. By the time the primary gets to us, it's pretty much over. It doesn't really matter. You're basically just passing your delegates to who's going to get it regardless. Should we have a change where the primary system is done maybe over a 3-week period that's a lot closer, so people don't just drop out? I know every state wants to be the first. I mean, Iowa with the caucus, they must be the first, and Super Tuesday and New Hampshire, but by the time it gets around to Illinois, I feel like it doesn't matter who's running at that point. So it's hard to get people, especially like my kids.
I mean,
my kids are 18 to 22, and it's hard to get them to be excited about going to vote.
I mean, you have
it's
a
already
hell of
picked
a
for them.
point. I mean, the general elections one day.
Yep.
Shouldn't it be one day for the primary? Why is it a parade? I mean, we're March 19th.
Yeah.
But there's already been pretty much decided, and we're not even into February or halfway into February. No, I agree. I think that's an interesting point. I never even thought about that.
So that's been my biggest thing. And I mean, unlike these guys, I'm not like, we talk sports on here a lot. I'm not a huge sports guy, but politics is my sports. Like, seriously, election years is like my Super Bowl year. It's just how it is. I love, debating candidates and debating issues and doing that kind of stuff. And I mean, there's been years where I'm backing Gary Johnson because I feel he's the best person, or I'm looking at the Democratic person that's running, or I'm looking at the Republican. I go all over the place based on ideas. That's what happens when you grow up with a mom that's a Democrat and a dad that's a Republican, and he's a trade unionist as well. So that was real fun.
Okay. So, well-rounded.
Well-rounded. I was a union carpenter for almost 20 years as well. So you get bombarded with a lot of, our union is backing this guy, which now they're not doing so much. The unions are going all over the place. They're looking for who's going to do best for them and for the work that they need to perform. Same thing with most people. We should all be looking more at what somebody can do for our community.
And what does our community need?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I always look at your local election as your biggest one.
Yes. It all starts local.
Your
100%.
mayors, your village trustees, your village presidents, like that's key first. And then from there, then our state positions, and then to our representatives in Congress. President is president. They can only do so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There are checks and balances. I still believe in that system, but it's just the primary system, I think, is broken in a way. Just like so many people complain about our electoral college, how our presidents are voted for. You could win a popular vote, but not get all of the, I'm losing my mind right now, the electoral votes. And,
still lose
wind up losing then. So a lot of people want to change that system. And I feel it shouldn't, I'm a holist in the fact that it should stay the way the Constitution was written for that. But how do you feel about some of these issues?
the sequence of the primaries has been established for years. And I don't know how Illinois ended up in March, and Iowa and New Hampshire are sort of the first out of the gate. But the thing to remember is that even if the presidential nominee has been determined by then, as you were mentioning, it's everything down ballot from there. The president, whoever the president happens to be, has got to have a Congress he or she can work with, a Senate that he or she can work with, and they've got to have. You have to have state representatives who are responsive. You've got to have state senators that are responsive. You've got to have the mayors, the sheriffs, the state's attorneys, the judges. Everybody is going to be on the ballot from time to time, and that's why there's a little homework assignment before you go to the poll in the primary, because you're going to have choices of people that you don't see on the news every night. You don't see their name every night, but probably have a more direct effect on you and your community and your state than some of those federal, big marquee kind of names.
And how do you feel about early voting?
I'm for it. The thing we're striving for is increased voter participation, and so that's the issue is somewhat fraught with who's going to collect them, who's going to count them, and where are they going to go, and all that. Those are legitimate concerns. Election integrity is a legitimate concern, but the issue of voting early, voting mail-in, whatever increases the level of participation, then I'm for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We want to hear from everybody.
Well, I'm a firm believer in, making sure we have a good system in place, but getting as many people to participate. I always say, like on election day, I put a live video out on social media every year going, I don't care who you vote for, but if you need a ride to a polling place today because you didn't send in a ballot already, call me up. Let me know. Send me a message. I'll drive people around all day long. We don't have to talk politics. We don't have to do anything. I'll drop you off, wait for you, and bring you back home. Because I do believe our parents and our grandparents, and they fought for us to have this right. And like you said, it's the most precious right we have as American citizens is the right to vote. But so many other countries don't get that opportunity.
It's a duty. It really is a duty. You got to be an informed citizen, so you know who to vote for. Then you've actually got to get out and vote. Without being informed and without actually exercising the franchise, you don't have a right to complain about what you end up getting. And so, there's a certain amount of cynicism in different groups, like, it doesn't matter who I vote for or whatever.
It does.
It does matter.
100%.
And America was established on rights and responsibilities, and our rights are, some of our rights are delineated in the Bill of Rights. Those are restrictions on government, and our responsibilities are to be educated about the choices, the issues, the people, and then to exercise the franchise. That's how it works.
Yep, 100%. Well, we want to thank you for coming on. This was a great 30 minutes to have you. I mean, we jammed a lot into that 30 minutes, so appreciate it. Being open and honest with us about some of the stuff that local people in our community are going to want to hear. So thank you for that. Any other questions before we wrap it up?
Well, we asked Jen Moraski when she was on at the beginning of last season. So, peanut or plain M&Ms?
Peanut.
There you go.
What was the other one?
I can't remember all the ones we asked, but we asked her some silly questions.
Here's a question.
Yep.
When I was dating my wife, because I wanted to do everything to please her, and we were at a family gathering, and the subject of cookies came up.
Oh.
Do you like them crunchy or chewy?
Crunchy or chewy?
Yeah.
I'm a chewy guy.
Okay.
I like crunchy.
I'm a chewy.
Yeah. Well, I voted crunchy, and then I found out my wife liked them chewy. So
There you go.
live and learn. But thanks for the time, guys. I've really enjoyed it myself, getting to know each of you just a little bit, and look forward to
Well,
doing
we
it
appreciate
again
you taking
sometime.
time out of your day to be here. So if you want more information about Judge Joe McGraw's campaign or what he stands for, you could go to judgejoeforcongress.com. You can find a Facebook page. I've looked at the website today. There's a lot of information on there. So I really appreciate you, coming out of your comfort zone and putting yourself out there for the world, because running for office
It's hard.
is the most vulnerable thing anybody can do.
100%. Yeah.
And I sit there and think about it myself. Like, I would like to run for an office one day, but I did so much crazy stuff as a teenager before social media. What if it comes out?
Yeah. I've heard that comment made that before cell phones is, a different era. But thanks for having me. And, you've got to have a passion, a calling. And if you have a passion, a calling to do something, then you absolutely have to do it in spite of whatever, stuff you might have to face down the road. But thanks very much, guys.
You
Thank
got
you
it.
again.
And
Thank you.
we'll be
Appreciate
right back
it.
to wrap things up for this episode.
All right. Well, thank you again to Judge Joe McGraw for stopping into the studio today. And definitely was interesting hearing him talk, and want everybody to know, whether you agree or disagree, all we're here to do is present information. Like, some of the restaurants we love, other people hate, and some of the ones we had bad experiences at, other people love. It's kind of like that with your politicians, right?
Yeah.
Some people you love, some people you hate. And we're pretty much just here to give you the information of what's going on in our state line area, because we want a well-informed audience on all aspects of what goes on where we live, because we love living here.
Up to 100%.
We're allowing our community to have a voice.
Yes.
So
And-
anybody that is wanting to be heard,
Yes.
wants people to hear their story, their statement, their side, whatever it may be, if you have it, we're here to listen. We'll always be here to be an ear to listen
And
to
I'll
somebody.
just throw it out there right now. If you want to be on the show because you have something important and pressing that you want to talk about, whether you're running for an office, whether you have a charity event coming up, whether you have anything like that, text me directly, 815-847-0359. Shoot me a text. I'll get you on our schedule. You'll be on.
I'm going to start sending you texts from random numbers.
You could do that. I got
Hey,
one.
John.
I got one yesterday. Listen to this. I get a text yesterday, and my day blew up on me yesterday.
Yeah.
Because we were supposed to have lunch and we didn't, and then Venice.
had lunch.
And then Venice had. Well, we were supposed to have lunch together.
I know. I had a great lunch.
And then
Kobe was there.
Venice had
I
stuff
was
for me to
there.
do.
We
So
had a couple old fashions at lunch.
Good for you.
Yeah, we were
So-
missing John.
I get a text and it goes, "Hey, so what are you doing today?" With a thinking emoji. And I don't know the number. So I try to look up the number and it's not coming up. I'm like, crap. Because so many people have my number, So I go, "I apologize. Who's this?" Biggest mistake in the world. Never respond if you don't know. Because I got some generic picture. It's probably some Russian hacker that's trying to bait me in. You know how you get pulled in with that stuff? And that's exactly what it was. It's like, "Don't you remember me? It's Svetlana." And it's like, no. it's like no. And next thing you know, it was like block
that's
number, delete,
oh, man.
reported
don't
as
you
spam
remember-
to Apple.
Hey, John.
And it's like, if
What's up, big boy?
if I had $1 for every type of text I get like that,
You might
I
be able to
wouldn't
buy a
have-
cheeseburger.
I would not have needed. Oh my God.
He had to bust it out. That's terrible. Edit that out, please.
No. We're going to dance now. Do a little dance for the group.
Oh, my God. All right, on a side note, okay?
Yes.
Yes. But seriously, if you want to be on the show, you have something important to speak about, we are here to give you a voice.
100%.
Why do seagulls fly over the sea and not the bay?
I'm not going to answer.
I don't know.
Because if they flew over the bay, they'd be called bagels.
Pakal.
That's silly. That is a great joke. That's a joke. That's a joke that my daughters should listen to.
Bagel!
Pakal. Mine. Okay. Now that the aspiring, the judge isn't here anymore, we can go back to being sophomoric.
All right. What do we got this weekend? State line area.
We have at one of my favorite places, Francesco's,
Ooh.
on Saturday, the Bridal Expo Show 2024.
Dun, dun, dun. Speaking of Francesco's,
Yes.
I have reservations for
The three of us?
No, me and my 3 Valentines for Valentine's Day at Francesco's. Very excited.
So 3 of us.
So the 3 of us.
No, sorry, guys.
And Colby?
No, it's me, my wife.
No, it's
and my 2
him.
girls.
It's Colby. It's Tim.
No.
Tim Hayes.
No. So
Monica's gonna have to stay home and fend for herself. He's going out with the Bourbon Boys.
no.
I don't think she's going to allow him to go out with the Bourbon Boys after Friday night.
No, she's fine. I was fine. I just stayed out late. That's all.
Did your
Yeah,
car
and
drive
this-
itself home?
I didn't drive. I got
Somebody
dropped
else drove
off.
him home.
My wife dropped me off at the house because I knew I was gonna have fun. I was like, I do not want to drive. So
Good for you.
I was smart.
Did you see that guy that got arrested for driving the Tesla with the Googles on?
Yes.
Did you see that?
I think it's all a joke though, or he was doing it as a joke. I don't think he was really.
Did you see the videos that are on a certain channel with the guy and the girl and the car's driving itself? Bad stuff, man.
What?
On a side note, my favorite Weller right now is probably Weller 12.
I like Weller 12.
Have you tried it?
I just said my favorite Weller.
Have you
right now.
tried it?
Yes.
Where?
We drank it
We
with
drank it
Tony.
with Tony. And the other 17 Wellers that he brought.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
If you
right.
remember way back
Oh
in
my
season
gosh, season one.
Like episode like
Yeah.
3.
episode
That was the
3,
pizza and
We
bourbon.
had pizza and bourbon.
Speaking of pizza and bourbon, I'm still not giving up on that dream. We're gonna find a way, Johnny boy.
It's okay.
Well, we're not going
We
to
won't
talk about
call-
it because the people in Rockford steal our ideas.
Yeah, we can't talk
They
about
do.
it, but it's not gonna be called 3121.
I'm gonna tell you this though.
I've got the name.
I'm gonna
Oh,
I'm gonna
all right.
snag this bottle of Weller right here.
No.
And we're just gonna call it
No,
squares.
no, you're good.
L7s.
No. All right.
Don't be an L7.
Don't
What
be an
else?
L7. Okay, so we got
L7 weenie.
who likes comic books? Because on Sunday,
I don't.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna lie. I am not into comic
the
books.
Rockford Comic
My
Book
daughter is.
Convention is at the Loves Park VFW on Sunday.
Ooh.
Is
and
it
I'll tell
crazy
you
that
right
there's
now-
a VFW on every square block of the United States?
No, because there's veterans of foreign wars on every square block of the United States.
There is.
Remember,
Interesting.
never forget. So no, George never had comic books as a kid. That's why he doesn't watch superhero movies.
I don't watch superhero
No, I did.
movies either.
I did. My daughter likes Groot, so she's got Groot comic
It's
books.
like Groot.
She loves
I'm
Groot.
Groot.
Have you seen
Everything's
that?
Groot.
Have you seen Percy Jackson on Disney Plus yet?
It's like the third time they're remaking that.
No.
I've watched it with all my kids. It's come around every few years as a new Percy Jackson.
I have not.
It's fine, but I watched it, the season and it's really good
On Disney Plus?
on Disney Plus.
So we got a comic book
Comic book
convention
convention,
at the VFW.
the
In-
CBC.
What else?
I've got a watch party
Ooh.
at the 8th Ward Pub on Sunday for the
For what?
Daytona 500.
I was gonna say, with the Super Bowl already happened.
Well, no, it's actually really cool
R.I.P.
now.
Dale.
So we know, it's spring when
I love
Daytona
that
500 starts.
I love that movie. I love anything with
Oh
Will Ferrell.
hail, praise Dale.
I love anything with Will Ferrell. My favorite still to this day is Step Brothers. Nothing beats Step Brothers.
I don't know. Talladega Nights has some
It-
solid.
it does.
one-liners.
Prestige
does.
Worldwide.
Whoa,
And that's a shout out. That's a shout out to Prestige.
The Nina, the Pinta, the
Santa
Santa Maria.
Oh God.
Before we get really off rails, we should probably wrap this up.
Thank you for listening, and thank
Do-
you again to
I
Judge
think he just
McGraw,
I think he just blew out the audio.
Do all the comic booky things. No.
the CBC.
do all of the YouTubey things, Facebooky things, the
And-
Josh.
podcasty things. That's the other one.
Josh.
What?
Oh, what?
So here we go again. Got the league info for this season. Swan Hills. They're already sending it out.
Oh, baby. You
know what that means?
It's golf season.
Yeah, golf
Side note, real quick. Did any of you guys notice that the Waste Management had to stop liquor sales?
Yes.
How
That
bad did
was
it get?
hysterical.
My brother-in-law was there, and he said it was the most outrageous thing he's ever been a part of in his life.
Well, that's because
he was there
that's
on-
because they partnered with Live Now, right?
He was there on no.
That
no,
all
no,
blew
no.
up. Yeah.
He was there on Friday. Saturday afternoon, they stopped all
liquor sales because he got out of hand.
and it
it
was so
was-
muddy because it rained a lot in Phoenix.
So people were just drinking.
Dude, people were like, there's a video of this guy, has to be 350, no shirt, right?
water sliding down
with a girl on his back, sliding down a mud hill, and the girl's wearing a cowboy hat. She's riding him like a bull.
There's also a video going around where the guy fell asleep in his chair and he's pissing himself. That was pretty funny.
Or the guy that literally nonchalantly on Thursday carried his buddy fireman style out of the entire concourse.
Yeah.
Just slumped. Oh yeah, there's videos. Find them. Send us your favorite video. They're hysterical.
And on that note, you all have a great week. We'll see you next week.